the trust fund is here to exist, and it has to continue to survive even beyond the launch date of the 13th of February this year. So without further ado, I'll just go into the presentation. Each of you should have a copy of our booklet. If you don't, please, there are more copies in front of me here. But the background to this is that our state, if we go to page 4, our state is inundated with security challenges, kidnapping, armed robbery, murders, and farmer conflicts, arms proliferation, cultism, political thuggery, cybercrime, and of course separatist agitation, which we know in the form of IPOP, that continues to challenge many businesses and individuals here. His Excellency has come up with this ambitious goal of moving our economy from a GDP size of $4.4 billion to $30 billion. See that he's on his way to making good on that front. The progress with which he's implementing his transformation plan is quite commendable, and obviously keenly supported by this honorable house. But in order to get Enugu to where it should be, he believes, and I'm sure this house also believes, that insecurity must be completely tamed so that the private sector can key in and become a catalyst for development, because that is how you get the government support to yield fruit. On page 6, if you may, is the picture of members of the Board of Trustees that were inaugurated about a year ago. And you have, obviously, myself, members of the private sector, Nat Ude, Chris Ekemezue, members of the public sector, Dr. Malaki Awo, David Gochi Madueka, members of the security organizations. Teresa Igulu, she used to head the DSS in Enugu. She has now been reassigned, and we now have Mr. Humphrey Ido has just come in. Brigadier General M.M. Abu has also been reassigned. We have Brigadier General Dogo, who has replaced him. We have ACP Fanny Patrick Mwafo, retired. Representatives of the traditional rulers, Igwe Ambassador Lawrence Aguboso. Then representatives of the religious community, we have Bishop Onyeka on here, and Reverend Professor Christian Anyeka. We also added 3 specialists because this will bring unique security expertise. Patrick Okibo III is a security consultant and has provided many reports on issues around insecurity in Nigeria. Major General Nuhu Ambazo, who used to be the ADC to Obasanjo, and is very familiar with all the national security issues. And AIG Edward Ibuka has been Commissioner of Police in at least 4 states across Nigeria before retiring, and including Kogi State, and quite clearly familiar. So between those members, if you go to, I'll quickly jump a few pages to page 14, where we have our operating structure. On page 14, we have the structure of we have 3 standing committees that's coming out of the Board of Trustees at the center, the Finance and Fundraising Committee, which is chaired by Nathan Ude. Nathan is a former managing director of Nova Merchant Bank, and soon to be announced to be the managing director of one of the bank holding companies, a major bank holding company in Nigeria. Asset Management and Governance Committee, chaired by Chris Ekemeze. Asset management, their principal role is to make sure all the security assets we acquire, the government acquires, are held in the trust name, and so they cannot be pilfered or moved to other states. And then we also have the governance around those assets. And then technical committee, is a euphemism for the security committee. This is where the generals, the SSS people, the police officers, to give input into security challenges as they arise. So this is how the board interfaces with the government, with the governor as the chief security officer, and then also working with his own special advisors on security, while we then also work collectively with all the stakeholders in Enugu, drilling all the way down to the traditional rulers in our villages. Above the Board of Trustees, we have a fund trustee. Let us not confuse that with the name Board of Trustees. The fund trustee's role is to show segregation and independence of any money received into the fund from that of government. So the account we have is not a government of Enugu State account, with the signatories being between the Accountant General of the state and the managing director of that trust institution called AfriInvest Trustees. That way, we can account for that money. Any money goes in electronically, you can see who has inflowed that money. When the money is disbursed for any security issues, we can know the disbursement and tie it to exactly what the projects were used for. And then the funds, the trust fund will be audited annually, and we intend to use one of the big four auditing firms to manage that process. So we've set up the fund in a way that it's a public-private partnership between the people of Enugu and the government. Because the way the law has been written by this Honorable House, it is a law that anticipates that this will continue from administration to administration, so that into implementation action. And that way we can communicate it to our stakeholders. If I go back to the very beginning, the objective, obviously, of the trust fund is, go to page 7, please, sir. Securing progress. That is the mantra we came up with in designing our logo, in designing our objective. So we came up with the mantra, securing progress. Because ultimately, to move the state forward, we have to guarantee the progress that we're making. And let's not take it lightly. I don't know if you saw recently that Aso Rock, Aso Villa, their light went off. Because some people went and vandalized the high tension cable that is bringing light into Aso Rock. And that is how difficult the issue of security is. It's not just attack, but even stealing public assets. You need to secure that. Because if you invest in electrifying rural communities, and then someone comes and steals all the transformers, then it sets you back. You need to make sure that we have an infrastructure that continues all the way from the Commissioner of Police here in Enugu down to the vigilante in the villages, so they know that these assets we must protect and guard them. But I've talked about all the different security challenges we have. Separatist agitation, kidnapping and armed robbery, assassinations, banditry, arson, castle rustling, herders and farmer clashes, cultism, political thuggery, drug trafficking, fraud and cybercrime, theft, burglary, proliferation of small arms and light weapons. All of these issues, are challenges and His Excellency to try and deal with. So the way the trust fund is working, it will then be like a central funding and security coordination point. Supporting, it is not an ibubago. It doesn't have anybody that employs it. Only empowering the people that are on ground. And in terms of that context, let me take you to page 9. Oh, sorry. On page 9, we list all the areas that will be supporting and working with. So look at personnel welfare. The biggest challenge we actually have in Nigeria, and indeed our state, is the welfare of our security personnel. Let's not go to the police, but if you think about the vigilantes in the village and the rural communities, there are many tools. There are many that have found problems, but when they try to report it, they don't have tools to communicate, or warn appropriate sequences to bring it in. There are also situations where someone is collecting their salary because they've not been enumerated and documented, so we can actually pay them. There are some that might have been injured in the line of duty and abandoned, which is not a good way to manage your security personnel. Or worse, they've lost their lives and their widows and families have been neglected. So this is some of the areas we could help supporting them, in addition to supporting them on weaponry, on equipment, as the case may be. Many times our military boys can be overpowered by, bandits. Empowering them in terms of vigilante groups, training them, organizing them. Another insecurity area, so there has to be continuous engagement and monitoring, because there are many issues of where you've empowered vigilante groups and they've taken those arms and then go to and commit crime somewhere else. So there's that discipline. The CCTV system architecture, we're already seeing that has been deployed in Enugu, and many of the major arteries and junctions is already working. I'm aware that some people have already started trying to vandalize some of them. Yes, because it's exposing them. Because the CCTV cameras are quite powerful, and many of them can actually do facial recognition. So if they take a picture of you and your picture appears in any official government records, it can actually biometrically determine that this is the person that they've seen in that picture. Not just Enugu Metropolis, we need to extend to Nsukka, Oji River, Ninth Mile, Nkanu, all parts. And as you have greater coverage, it means therefore that all the criminals know that this is not a good market. They should go somewhere else for their problems. Purchasing security vehicles, the governor launched 150 security vehicles. Those are to support the police. Again, similar to the stationary security assets. This time around, we don't want to purchase vehicles, hand it over to the police, and the Commissioner of Police then deploy to another state. He then wants to carry assets and go. The way we have set up the trust fund, again, the way you guys have written it, is that the trust fund will have the ownership of those assets, and those assets belong to Enugu. So that when the Commissioner of Police is moving, he can carry his wardrobe equipment on ground. And that's why there's a governance committee making sure those things are enumerated and counted. So new people, when they come in, they'll find those assets. And the insurance will be running from the funding of the trust fund, the maintenance, because obviously some would need to be serviced periodically. Supporting with all the protective equipment like bulletproof vests or helmets and all of those things. And sometimes it just, that problem is coming, but you need to mobilize 50 boys to deter the problem. And those kind of support is part of the funding that will be coming. And then because this is a plan to be a going concern, some of the money would also go back to publicity and fundraising, because it's that continues to reinforce the ability of the public to support. So in terms of the beneficiaries, 12, the list of different beneficiaries: Neighborhood Watch, Forest Guard, State Police Command, Special Vigilante Corps, Mobile Police, Airport Police Command, State Security Services, Explosive Ordnance Disposal, Counter-Terrorist Unit, Mounted Police. Other agencies that would also benefit is the Nigerian Army, Air Force, Customs, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Nigerian Immigration Service units operating within Enugu. But that security is the preserve of the federal government. It's on the exclusive list. So while we can interface with all of these people, it's critical that we hold the ones that we can control ourselves. And the ones we can control will be, in my view, number 1, neighborhood watch groups; number 2, forest guard agency; number 4, vigilante corps. If we organize the people and the foot soldiers efficiently, then it becomes easier to be able to have the information that tells you where your challenges are coming from, and also go towards the era where you can prevent insecurity rather than coming as a fire brigade to try and fight it after it has started. Because information is what tells you when 50 strangers will show up in a village. You say, what are they doing here? That's information. Immediately come and ask, who are these people and why did they come here? Because in no time they've been planning to do something. And that way we can interface with the different of the state security force. So that's how we've set up the organization. Now, the governor gave us a challenging target. He said, I'd go and organize to raise 20 billion naira. He said, His Excellency, that's a tall order. I said, yes, you can do it. Obviously, it's coming from knowing my background. I run AfriInvest. We are a leading investment banking firm based in Lagos. We have branches across Nigeria. We're also privileged to be the jersey sponsor for Enugu Rangers. So you see the name AfriInvest on the logo of the players. And I've committed that before the end of this year, we'll open our Enugu office, Mr. Speaker. So initially I thought it was quite ambitious, but as we went into the planning of this event, we then realized actually it's quite doable. If you think about working collectively, all of us spend money on security in our different homes. And in this room, I'm sure all of you live in a house that has a gate, and perhaps even a gate man. If you don't, you probably live in a street that has a vigilante watching the street at night. By the time you count what you're spending, the component of security in your house, plus talk less of burglar proofing and bulletproof doors they are put everywhere, you see there's quite a significant amount of money. Enugu has a population of about 5.5 million people. Let's assume 2 million are adults who are gainfully employed. If we asked each person of the 2 million to put down 1 billion naira, if we do that concertedly for a year, in a year we'll raise 24 billion. So you can see that the 20 billion naira target is not that difficult if you just pay 1,000 naira among 2 million people. Meanwhile, we know for sure there are people who can do more than 1,000 naira a month, because 12,000 naira a year is a drop in the bucket in terms of what people will spend, what the average person, even on minimum wage of 80,000 a month, what you spend on security. And we want a state where you don't have any issues of waking up and saying, it's 10 p.m., let me quickly rush to G River, do something and come back. It's not that to be. Yes, thank you. You'll be feeling very worried, and that's really the idea. So we've decided that it's quite possible, and in terms of the stakeholders that can donate, if you go to page 9, we say across the state, there are the citizens themselves, Enugu residents, whether you're a trader, a white-collar worker, a blue-collar worker, you can donate. Whether you're in diaspora within Nigeria, living outside of Enugu State, we have our brothers and sisters all over the country, Port Harcourt, Lagos, Abuja, Kaduna. Those are potential targets. Plus the ones abroad, we also have our brothers and sisters that doing business very well in China, in Turkey, in India, Japan, America, Europe. All of them need to contribute, and many of them would actually want to support once they have the right message from members of this house. Development organizations, we know some embassies even have funding available for insecurity. If there's a structure where they can use it and donate it either effectively as support the state or even sending cash. Of course, the government, the Enugu State government, is very keenly focused on curing insecurity. Have spent billions on the assets you already can see, the command and control center, the security vehicles, the CCTV cameras, the kind of devices, the body equipment Some of the security personnel have impressive body equipment, complete with cameras on them. So as they're going into combat, they actually can be recording the situation, plus the bulletproof vest on top. Local governments are involved. This afternoon, we'll be speaking to Algon Chairman and his members to also get their buy-in. Federal government also has a way to support once you have a structure like this available. And of course, last but not the least, the corporate organizations, banks, corporates, SMEs, the law have a provision to put aside money for security. But once your state does not have a trust fund, it's not easy for them to give that money over. But once you have a structure, you can then write them to say, at least this is what the state has done, different stakeholders have done, you must do something yourself. And many of them will willingly give support, either to say, okay, if the state has bought 150 vehicles, how much is another vehicle? Maybe say it's 50 million. They donate a complete vehicle or donate even something more significant. We intend to target all the banks based on the branches they have as footprints in Enugu State. The corporates, we are engaging the organized private sector in Enugu. Ike Chioke, who used to chair the Chamber of Commerce, we've already spoken to him and he's reaching out, and he said he will do some further engagement. The DG of SME, Ike Chioke, we're working with him and his team to get all the SMEs. And Enugu has over 1 million SMEs. If each of them give us 1,000 naira, that's 1 billion. So the way we're approaching this is to engage all the different groups and communities. That launch becomes an official announcement, and then we'll then trickle down and begin to sensitize and mobilize each community to do their own. And again, it's a donation. It is not a tax. People will say they're already taxed enough. They say, why are we doing this? In developed countries, they don't do security trust funds, but the government provides everything. But the truth is that actually the tax rate in Nigeria is one of the lowest in the world. It's at 18% for the average person. The tax rate in Europe is about 45% of your income, and includes benefits in kind. In Nigeria, they tax you 18% on the cash. They don't tax you benefits in kind. So, for example, if a house member gets a car that's worth 50 million in the Netherlands, the state will send you a tax bill, billion naira, you pay. So that tax, most people will say, no, don't give me the car, rather give me the cash. So I know that I've paid the tax already. And so Nigeria is relatively undertaxed relative to the world. But the issue at hand is that is a donation we're asking. We never asked, and the law as it drafted it is not a tax burden on any individual or government. However, if you make a donation, the way the law is written is that you can get a tax credit against it, because that's written also in the law. So if a corporate makes a donation, they can go to Enugu State Inland Revenue and say, I made a donation, give me a discount. So it also incentivizes the corporates to come and make the donations. So we believe that it is the target of 20 billion naira is possible. So that's what we're looking at. Because if you invested properly in the markets today, I'm in the investment business, I know you can easily get a 20% interest rate without even trying. If you go into some commercial paper, you could be at 25%, 29%. Well, even 20% means that you have 4 billion naira every year. 4 billion naira every year can support all the vigilantes in Enugu State. There's 20 per ward. You can go to even 50 per ward to make sure that they are well paid. Not only are you providing employment, but you're ensuring security, and with a safer system and architecture, you will be shocked at the amount of development that will come in, because people will no longer be afraid to move around or go anywhere. And it further lends credence to the governor's ambition to drive our GDP to $30 billion. Let me say that we have also not forgotten, if you go towards page 34, they have the bank accounts. We've set up only one at Zenith Bank at the moment. Enugu State Security Trust Fund / Afro-Invest Trustees. That's the trustee managing the money, working in partnership with the state. Of course, no money can leave this account without the counter signature of the accountant general. But the money is not going to government account, so it doesn't go into treasury single account. It cannot be used for any other purpose other than the security matter in which it's been used. If you want to send us dollars and you want to send it by wire transfer, we have the dollar details. If you're tech savvy, you go to our website, www.Enugu State Security Trust Fund, ESSTF, on page 35. You will see the landing page, and on top of it you see a red donate button. If you click on it, it just a ticket online. And any credit card in the world can work. If you use an American dollar credit card, even if you put 100,000 naira, it will take the dollar equivalent from your account and send us 100,000 naira. If you use a Japanese yen card and put 100,000 naira, we'll get 100,000 naira to take the equivalent in yen. So we built up that structure using the best tools, and it's a secure platform for donation. And when people donate, we also want to recognize them for their support, because every year we'll be doing an annual town hall meeting. We'll go around on press, in meetings such as this, to give a report and account of what we have done in the past year. So for donation categories, page 29 summarizes what we're offering. The corporates, any corporate does 10 million naira in a year. If they reach 25 million naira in a year, they become silver category. For those who can do 50 million in a year, they are at gold status. And those who can do 100 million a year are diamond. I don't know if you saw recently, UBA, Tony Lumele was on the radio announcing a 500 million naira donation to Lagos State Security Trust Fund. But that shows you the powerful capacity of the trust fund. Obviously, by the time we get somebody can do $500 million naira for us, that means our job is well and truly settled. But Lagos has more of the corporates. We are up and coming, but we have ourselves, and what indeed we are known for is their capacity for collective effort. And we do collective effort to send our children to school. If we lose a lot, so instead of just doing them in a small groups, if you think of doing it in a huge statewide structure that is transparent, that is open, and that can be queried, then it gives us more capacity to strengthen the state and secure it. Lastly, on page 31, we've summarized the donor certificates for individuals, with the lowest being 1,000 naira. We believe everybody can be in that category at the very minimum. 1,000 naira a year is not too much to ask. I dare say that should be 1,000 naira a month, one name category. Then charter donation is at 25,000 naira per annum, bronze 100,000 naira, silver 500,000 naira, gold 2 million naira, diamond 5 million, and lastly 10 million naira platinum. Is the one that drafted this bill would obviously be looking out of it to come to the very, very high donor certifications when you're making your individual donations. Yeah. On that note, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to rest the microphone and then take feedback and questions and concerns from the House. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ike Chioke, for the wonderful presentation. I think the floor is open if we have questions, if we have any comments. Let's get them done now.
Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. I start to raise my voice to appreciate Mr. Chairman and his team having done a diligent job Mr. Chairman, I want to commend you and your team. You've done a diligent job here. Sitting down here listening to you, I must say that I am so delighted and marveled to the marvelous job you've done in this little space of time. But I have my concern, I think, in page 9. Yes, where project to be funded. Mr. Chairman, I believe that in dealing with security, you have to take a kinetic approach. And having listed areas the fund tends to be funded, I don't think the non-kinetic approach is much presented. Because I believe when we begin to think about how to even prevent the action before it occurs, how do we begin to orientate our youths, move them away from even involving themselves in crime? So we spend less in acquiring of security gadgets and all that. So I would suggest that also include here that one of the areas to be funded should be in youth empowerment as well, and security education, to see how we can curb it and prevent our youths, because when you look at percentage of people who involved in crime, they are mostly the youth. So when you begin to see how we can empower the youth and then build their capacity, and then orientate them on how to move away from crime, I believe the funding will be more utilized in a way that will impact the public more. Sorry, I missed the culture. I forgot to introduce myself. Mr. Speaker, permit me. My name is Honorable Raymond Ukechukwu, and I speak with the mandate of the Enugu East Rural Constituency. Thank you very much. Okay, Chairman. Okay, they said I should complete it. Thank you, Honorable Obe. I am also House Committee Chairman, Youth Sports and Security. So this is actually my terrain being discussed here today.
Okay, our amiable speaker, Doc, you're welcome, sir. Thank you for this very concise work that you have done. As a matter of fact, one would really feel that this is not achievable, but by your explanation, I can see it's very, very easy to achieve this. My little concern goes to the personnel, more especially the neighborhood watch and that of the forest guard. You know, at the moment, there is really a very big problem considering their welfare, their payments. One, the payments are not even coming as a when due, and two is that they are highly underpaid. 20,000 naira does not do anything at the moment. And we've discussed this thing before with the Commissioner of Human Capital Development, but at the moment nothing is done about it. So I think he should be part of the trust fund work to make sure that it will be in the prime work, the foremost thing they're going to do as far as this trust fund is concerned, to beef up this, because when you have a young man that have a gun and he doesn't have money, you're not paying him, so he becomes a time bomb in the environment where he is, because he has a life ammunition and he doesn't have money, so anything can happen any moment. So it's one area that I have great concern. I want you to pay critical attention to. Thank you. I represent Ibetit West and the House Committee Chairman on the poverty reduction, economic development, SDG, energy, and NGOs. Thank you so much.
Good day, Honorable Speaker. My name is Honorable Ike Chioke. I represent the good people of Enugu State constituency. House Committee Chairman on Health. Doc, wonderful presentation. When I look at the whole thing, I begin to pity you a bit, in the sense that it sounds easy, but I know the culture of my people, of Ndi Igbo. Bringing out is actually very difficult. Whatever they can, like you said about only tax, whenever you talk about tax, it becomes on Kenya judge. Do you understand me? So what I'm trying to say is that you may even say 1,000. When it comes to bringing, if you don't make them bring it, if you say willingly, they hardly do that. They prefer to show off, but to do the real thing, bring out money where it matters most. It's a big problem for our people. So I'm saying now, my question now is there anything attached to it to make them what do you understand me? To make us, I myself inclusive, to be able to bring or donate according to our class in the society. And if you finally don't get those things from them, okay, you said that. You understand me? That's me. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. Mr. Chairman, you are welcome. My name is Honorable Osita Eze, representing Enugu State constituency. So I have two major concerns and maybe an idea. The first one is on the issue of equipment maintenance. We don't seem to have maintenance culture in this climate. And particularly some of the security agencies, I don't want to mention anyone, when you give them a vehicle or an equipment, under 3 months, come and see that equipment, come and see the vehicle. Do we have a plan of having monitoring and also maintenance culture? So if we don't have, let's begin to think about it. Then also the other one is about these are the people who have our own people. Every security is internal. Security is local. So these people that are going to be the anchor, the main people, our ears in the villages, I hope we are planning to give them secure insurance cover for them. Because if some of them lose their life and nobody talks about it, they don't have gratuity, they don't have pension, but we should try as much as possible to institute an insurance cover for them. And if we do that, I think we're going to make more progress than we're making now. So thank you very much for the due diligence, for the great work you have done by coming up with this idea. Thank you very much.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the chairman of the trust fund and his team, thank you for a wonderful presentation. As some of my colleagues who have spoken earlier, you know, the primary aim of a serious government is providing security and some other important things. So when we pay taxes, it's assumed we have done our own part for the government to now provide security and so many other needs of the people. And it's a good thing. We are coming up with this as a free will donation. You donate money, you can donate more than other people are being expected to donate. You can donate less, you can just assist, you know. So, but when you try to speak to us like this, it's okay, but I'm thinking in my own suggestion that you expand some other medium of reaching out, the other ways to reach out to the people. Expand it. You sensitize people, you talk to them very well. Tell them that what you realize through taxes is not enough to handle those amenities that we need, those needs of the people. It's not enough to handle them. So, but security is another very important aspect of human life. So I believe when you sensitize them, they will now see the need for them to assist in their own little way. And when you don't make up what you are looking for, you also try to manage what you have. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I salute you. My name is Harrison. I'm the chairman of the Security Trust Fund. Ike Chioke. My name is Harrison. I'm from Boise South. Sorry, I came late because of unforeseen circumstances. Yes. Mr. Chairman, I didn't expect anything less from you. Because I know your pedigree, I know what you can do, what you have been able to do in Anambra State. There's like the thing has been abandoned over time. You coming to Enugu State, I think is a credence that shall be attached to this government about their plan to ensure security for all people in Enugu State. I listened carefully to your explanation, and it makes sense in whatever capacity we can. You're just talking about one of the critical aspects of government that is attached to the fundamental objective and directive principle of state policy, which is about providing security for the people. And when we talk about government, it's not just about paper and back. We are also government. In fact, those who are in the marketplace are government. It's for us to let them know that they have a role to play to secure themselves. And so we support you. However, I have taken time to talk with the non-legal policing outfits like the Nigerian police and the military. And they have lost so confidence about themselves that the next policeman doesn't trust the next person with him. And they begin to ask themselves, why is it that we have about 19 checkpoints from Enugu to Suka, yet kidnapping cases occur? And when people are kidnapped, even before the police, nobody makes an attempt to chase them. And they continue to move until they disappear with their victims. Lack the willpower to do anything. They will tell you if they continue to go into that bush and they are killed, their wives going to look for their whatever that were attached to them as dead men will get pregnant in the process. And so we're looking at a better way to manage our security, and which is vigilante. If you ask me, if you pay much attention to vigilante, I was talking to the chairman of the local government in Suka, and he tells me that he can raise about 200 men, equip them, fortify them, give them the tools, pay them well, grant them insurance. They will go after kidnappers. They will go to the bush, Engr bush, and fish out all the kidnappers. For people who have been kidnapped, the experiences are gory. The bush, from that time, Ubulumbe, are their point of residence, these kidnappers, and nobody disturbs them. Nobody. They have thoroughfare, and they can beat anybody because they have thoroughfare around them. So if you focus attention on empowering the vigilante much more than the police, that will give you more results. If you empower the villagers, I saw a very tall mast in my village, in the South, and I said, who is doing this? They said the state government. The camera up there is on surveillance. And I clapped, even though I was alone, I clapped for the government of Enugu State. One of the kidnappers, one of the victims that was released by the kidnappers in Anambra said, if not for Peter and the Enugu State government, they couldn't have been released. I have that. Yes. Yes. Because they had to go to Enugu to be able to track where they were. Yes. And he was saying it on the platform.
It was the Reverend Father.
Yes. So they had to come to Enugu to be able to track what's going on in Anambra and say this governor must be a genius. And so with you on board about this, we do that. God bless you. Thank you. Brother, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, just one question. I think some of the people who took question have come around this question, but they didn't quite ask it the way I want, because this is just one challenge I know that we're going to be faced. When you want to talk to your constituents about this trust fund, there's one very important question that they will ask. We are in a society that believes that and rightly so, that the issue of security is the number one duty of government. And they believe that, and most importantly, they believe that there is something called security vote. So when you want to talk to them about Enugu State Security Trust Fund, they will ask you, so Kiapani, who the security vote there, man? I would want ideas are like impregnating a woman. You can't give what you don't have. So we want you to impregnate us with this idea, so that when they say, upon Ebony and you came back a security vote, let us know what we are going to give back to them, because it's not just about we are poor people here in parentheses. Not we are comfortable here, but we can't give as much. When I'm looking at what you have here, I know that I don't think that we can give something that is significant considering what we are looking for. But we also have our constituents that we can talk to, just like you rightly said. Those in America, those in Europe, those abroad, those that want the security here to be intact, so when they come back, they won't come back with one leg. They will come back with full assurance that they will be safe. So we can talk to them, but then we also need something we can tell them, so that they do not think that we now want to be keeping the money meant for security and now want them to be the ones funding the security. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, the chairman of the Trust Fund. My name is Honorable Antonio Kemba, I represent Kano. I think the chairman has marshaled out his action plan, which is very robust and precise and tend to achieve the goal. But I want to talk about, the main ingredient you need is the message you will communicate to our people. So that message is what will begin to deal with some concerns my colleagues are raising here. Using the SWOT analysis, my honorable colleague, Ike tried to present our weakness. But we have our strength. Our strength is in the fact that the government has already started doing something on security. Government have that it is visible, everybody could see it and see how it has been functioning so far. And another strength is that between 20th of December up till now, we had very minimal insecurity occurrences. So it shows that government has already deployed a lot, trying to encourage our people that they could trust what government is doing. So it is our strength. So, and that strength brings the opportunity for us to now cash into this thing the government is already doing and see it as an opportunity to consolidate on what government is doing. And when we do that, of course, the threat is about the sustainability of what you are doing. So if you don't have the blueprint for sustainability, people will ask you that question and they want you to also explain how this fund will be sustained, having achieved raising the fund. So need to go back and work out a communication strategy. The communication strategy will deal with presenting those, things that will talk to the conscience of our people to contribute. Conscientize them to say yes, what they are saying is really good. That the government has shown commitment, that brought in money, huge money, and we've seen the impact of the money. That if we could also, deprive ourselves from one bottle of beer or two and make a transfer of 1,000 naira into this trust fund, that it will go a long way to support what government is doing. So there's this thing I used to listen on the radio. There's one man, he's always on the radio telling our people to support sick people. I don't know if anyone has listened to that on Dream FM. He's telling them that someone has kidney issues, that your 1 naira matters a lot, your 5 naira, 1,000 matters a lot. So you see people, market people, poor people, making transfers of 500 naira, 1,000 naira. They will call back and say that they have transferred 1,000 naira, they have transferred 500, kept raising huge amount of money through that radio program to support people that had such health issues. So this advocacy is going to be intense, it's going to be robust and holistic. So you need to deploy a lot of communication strategy to be able to achieve what you intend to achieve. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues. Mr. Chairman, my own contribution will just very brief. I think there is need to, involve the diasporan society team deeply in this. Because I know a lot of them that has mansions in their village, but when they come back during Xmas or festival or anything, they don't sleep there any longer. Even those in Soka, they don't travel to Soka, they stay in Enugu here. That's why hotel becomes very difficult to even have a room upon all the whole hotels within the state. And even when they travel to the villages, they will look for a hotel to sleep instead of sleeping in their houses. So, and also, the issue I'm seeing now that because of what the government is doing at the security, what the government is currently doing, the issue of insecurity now have moved from that one we know to the local one. And this local one, we don't even know because of the economy of the nation. Some time ago, about 1 month ago, there was a security issue that happened in my local government where the transformer cable was cut and the guy was electrocuted. So when they saw the ID card, it was a neighborhood watch person. So even the estate I live in GRA here, for 3 weeks now, we don't have light. The transformer is at the center of the estate, and there is a security. It's one entrance, in and out. There is a security at both sides, and they move around in the night. But they have to still come and vandalize the transformer. And all the people that park their cars outside, their batteries are being removed. So, and the security, they move all the time. So, the number one is, how much are these people paid to do the job? Retrain and reorientation. So, some of all these things need to be considered. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, thank you Thank you very much for your questions, for your feedback, for your advice. Some advice, some questions, and some things that we can even make direct changes into our presentation. But let me take very quickly the comment on kinetic and non-kinetic approaches. Excellent point. We're actually going to include that as even the comment before. We'll make it as one of the key ones at the top, because it's a very important area we totally forgot, educating about security education, because that also reflects on the culture that we need to change. But the challenge we face is that previous governments have not taken this issue seriously. And and when you create a vacuum, something else will come and fill it. And that, what has filled it has been all this bad behavior. So we need to re-educate that people, get it back in their mind. So a very, very important point. We'll take note of that. The issue of neighborhood watch and the very meager salary of 30,000 naira a month they're getting certainly is an important one. And even when the payment is not coming regularly, that's also linked to people who have been injured in the line of duty or even not getting any benefits. We'll take note of that. Like I said, if you do 30,000 naira times 5,000 people, assuming 20 neighborhood watch or vigilante per ward, you're at 156 million. But if you raise 20 billion naira and put it in an interest-bearing account, you have 4 billion a year. You can more than pay that money and still give them medical insurance, comes to the issue, and give them death benefit insurance. But what better yet, you can actually go from 20 to 50 young men, and you can go from 30,000 a month to something more appropriate, like 80,000, which is the minimum wage. And I think that's the vision of where we're going. Obviously, because we are a new trust fund and we are set up as a public-private partnership, we are not coming to appropriate any money from the state. In fact, many of the efforts we've done here have been due to personal sacrifice. Obviously, I'm not being paid to do this, and obviously, even paying for the printing is coming out of my pocket. So, but when we imagine what is possible and build a fund that continues to grow, then all of these things are achievable. Because it's actually the security is a local problem. Like the honorable member, you're talking about your area where your transformer is missing. It's probably the people securing it that are stealing it. So there's a way we can get to a level that something is so obvious. If you give me this bottle of Martina and it's always missing in front of everybody, I'm the one that took it now. Yes. So we have to also respond with. There's a cause and effect. If something is under your watch and is missing, we'll deal with you. Yes, we go to jail for it. So that's on the neighborhood. On number 3, from Kechukwu cultural challenge of bringing money. Any incentive to donate and any penalty for not donating. I hear you, but I think that just like our people are fond of showing off wealth, I know a young man that did a funeral event for his mother. I see the talk of town. The same person had come to my office and borrowed money to do a business several years ago. And I'm thinking, if you're coming to borrow money, is this how you use the money? So I'm very familiar with those kind of issues. But the government also intends to recognize people who have donated. And our governor is a very serious person. They come to a point where you say, okay, he wants to give contract. I say, no, those people have not contributed. These are the people that have been contributing. Small, we'll begin to acknowledge and accept those. We have our certificate. We may even rename all the individual donations, give them proper Igbo titles, so that at a certain level, we know that you have reached a certain level of civil duty, because there's a civil duty to do it. Building mansions in the village is nice, but it's one of the challenges of what I call idle assets are not yielding anything. Securing that village so that you can come home every Christmas or anytime you want is better. And then having a small house you can sleep in. But we'll definitely penalize anybody for not donating. But at a point, it's the kind of character of our government that Excellency is very serious. And he will keep company with those who believe they are supportive of civic duty and responsibility. And that's sort of the message we want to communicate. There's also the plan for monitoring and maintenance, because our culture has not been one of maintaining our assets. That's one critical area. Like I explained when I talked about the structure, we have an asset management standing committee whose job is enumeration, first of all. And then those that are insurable will be insured. And if you're given a vehicle that needs fuel, this is where you get a voucher for fuel lift-off. It's not cash. The voucher can only be redeemed as it's scheduled, so that we know that this car needs to go for maintenance. And routinely, we'll obviously get some help with parking a yard where you can park it. When the car comes, you can see where the scratches have happened. And some of these vehicles are not really to be chasing criminals up and down. They are just monitoring. Some vehicles are just designed for just driving down the street. In the UK, they have the constable approach, where a policeman is walking down the street. And so you see physical presence, but the way our streets are designed, it's not easy to walk it. So some vehicles are just designed to drive down the street, recording, and then drive back again. And there are also ideas to even have a fleet of drones whose job is to follow an express road. Every 5 minutes there's a drone following. So if there's an incident occurs, you can immediately start following through, which is to chase immediately that action. If you chase an incident within 5 minutes to resolve it, than if you let it go. So those who come under the maintenance structure. The fifth question we got was on expand sensitization and the fact that the tax money is not enough to resolve all the issues. For us to expand the sensitization campaign efforts, this is the beginning. Fundraising and publicity is part of the use of proceeds. But when you want to start a locomotive that has been parked for many years, it needs a lot of effort to push a train. So I try to get this train started. Once the train gets started, then we will have the lubrication to take a little bit and make sure all parts of the train is working, plus the coaches is pulling behind. So a continuous part. But we're working towards the launch event on the 13th of February, and I have all your invitation cards here. But we want to make sure that once we get started, let's get started first, and then the rest can follow, come along. There's a big question. What have we done with our security votes thus far? I think that's a very easy question to answer, because it's clear. Even we have a testimonial in the room where somebody is kidnapped in Anambra, and it's because of Enugu that the people were released. That shows you testimonial. One of the special advisors to the governor, his car was stolen on what's this road, Chim Avenue in New Haven. He reported to the yes. He reported, and quickly they could see on the camera the people that the car that parked behind him. Then the people where he was to make sure he was still in the shop, while the other people went and disabled his car to enter inside. By the time he came out, he saw one very beautiful woman, and he was talking to the woman, asking her, like, it turns out the woman is the wife of one of the culprits. They've arrested a lot of them already. And this is again because our cameras are watching. So it comes back to the question of what have we done with the money. We have anyway, so when it comes back to your comments, Honorable, about SWOTs. Yes, there's weaknesses and there are threats which we are dealing with, but the strengths and the opportunities are there. The strength is that we actually have been utilizing our security vote judiciously. Because this the same allocation Anambra is getting. In fact, they get more allocation from federal government than Enugu. So, but clearly the challenge for us is that we want to move from the strength to the opportunity. The opportunities that if all of us key into this, Enugu will become a center of commerce. We will actually pull money out of Lagos. Because living in Lagos, I'm very much aware that many of our Igbo brothers, many of our Southerners who are not from the Southwest, want to come and relocate their businesses. But if they see a safe and secure Enugu State, they will move. Many of them know that one by one, Nigeria might happen to them. They're there in their business. One day they come and say, your building, we're going to demolish it. After all, don't you know what happened to Landmark? It was there. One day they built a road on top of his business. So, and it's not the only one that has happened to. So we need to seize this opportunity to create our homeland, to make it a viable and thriving environment. I think I managed to touch on all the issues that have been raised. But I'd like to end with the strategy for communication and how we get it. I think the whole purpose of this meeting is just exactly what we've achieved here, to sensitize you on the bill you passed and how we have taken that bill to try and practicalize it, to make sure that people that wrote the bill, because they had a vision, and so that vision must continue, and how does it then take life, that it becomes something that supports our state and galvanizes the development. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to end by reminding you all that on this 13th of February, we are having the launch of the Security Trust Fund. It's going to be at the banquet hall of the Old Government Lodge. I will be honored to have your esteemed presence. Invitation card. Let me give Mr. Speaker his own first. Yes, thank you, sir. And then there's a card for every member here. We would obviously like you to use the Honorable House to propagate this information and resonate the message so that on the day of the launch, we can go by constituency. Each member will then say, this is what my constituency is bringing. I've gone to speak to them. Even if you're not bringing it by the launch, you say you do it during the course of the year, that's fine. If you want to go back and take feedback from your people in the state, from those in Nigeria, from those abroad, get them to key into this, because that's actually the path to development. And people think it's impossible, but even me, I've come to be a believer in Peter Mba, because when he gave me his manifesto, and I said, you're ambitious. And I was coming from the fact that the previous 8 years, not much has been done. And I said, you don't have to promise us too much. Just do good governance. Don't you go and start doing that. I'm going to transfer Enugu to Dubai. Maybe too ambitious, and you promise more than you can deliver. Well, here we are. In less than 2 years, things are happening. In a few months, Hotel Presidential will be ready for opening. Can you believe it? I couldn't believe it. I went to the site 2 weeks ago and I was shocked. They nearly completed it. And we can see the conference center is here, it's ready. So these are things that then begin to lead you to imagine a new Enugu that is an engine of commerce. And let me also end. One honorable member mentioned that hotels were very difficult to get in Enugu. The reason it wasn't because of our people in the village. The reason was because our brothers in Imo State, Ebonyi State, Anambra State came and booked all our hotel rooms. Yeah. Yes, they all booked up our hotel room, and they were the ones in the day trips.
Distinguished members of the House of Assembly. Well, Chairman has introduced me earlier. My name is Engineer Chinedu Ani. I'm the Executive Secretary for the Trust Fund. I just want to appeal that we have a very good website, and we would like more engagement with our website. All the information Chairman has shared with you today can be found on the website. Also, more importantly, if you go to our website, now you all have your phones. If you don't mind, can you just bring out your phone and type ESSTF.ng, please, so that we can do a practical exercise. ESSTF So Enugu State. Okay, you're there already. ESSTF.ng. Yes. ESSTF.ng. So at that website, on the top left corner of your website, you will see 3 dots. Those are called the menu dots. Can you click on the menu dots, please? Okay, what can you see? Okay. So on that website, you can see there's all the information you need, including how to contact us. Our email address, our phone numbers, everything is there. Also, our 13 board members. If you go to overview, you will see meet the team. Then the biography of every board member is there. Now, more importantly, if you look at the website on the right-hand top corner, you'll see a red button. What does the red button say? Right. Can you click on the red button, please? Okay, so if you click on the red button, it will give you an option to make, okay. Now, that is making a donation by using our account number at Zenith, the way we all make transfers to our girlfriends or wives or whoever. It's the same way of making transfers.
Why again? On the lighter note.
On the lighter note, yes. Yes. No, it's there already now. It's there. If you look at it, you can see the account number. It's there. Zenith Bank. Can you see name, account? It's there. You can just copy and paste. Yeah, it's just there. Okay, so you can see the transfer option. Then if you go further down, you will see another option that says make a secure online payment. Now, can you click on that? There's a green button just below that statement. If you click on that blue button, it will take you to a portal, a secure portal, Paystack. That portal will tell you to put your name and email address, and then the amount you pay by USSD, pay by transfer, pay through bank, or pay by your card. Now, I can assure everybody here that that payment option is very safe if you want to pay by card. I've been buying all my airline tickets on that platform for the last 2 years. I've not had any problem with Airpeace or EPOM or anybody. It's perfectly safe. It's exactly the same payment portal that Airpeace are using, that we're using. Also, when you make a payment, you get an email within 2 minutes from Enugu State Security Trust Fund so that you know your money has hit our account and we are aware of it, and you will be duly recognized. If you are abroad, for those of you who will speak to your friends and relatives abroad, if they go to that website, open it, it will tell them, just like you, how much money in Naira do you want to put. Name, email address, amount in Naira. If you say 100,000, American credit card, and you make that payment, it will deduct the equivalent of 100,000 Naira in your dollar card or Japanese card or anywhere in the world. So we've incorporated this platform to accommodate those who want to make payments from overseas. So I just want you to please engage more with our websites and send this information, cascade it down to your people so that they can go to the website and they can donate directly if they wish to. And all the information is there as well. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. But also remember there are some people that don't have email address or access to data. So we'll need to organize community support groups so that if they come together as a collective and say this community wants to donate 50,000 naira, as a way they can organize to collect that money, maybe one person can pay to the cascading structures. But this obviously works for those in the urban center with smartphone, email address, and phone number that can easily do their donation on the go. We don't need any special something for it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairman ESSTF. Distinguished honorable colleagues, I want to thank you for your patience. I want to thank you for your robust contributions. The chairman and the executive secretary, I want to thank you on behalf of the House of Assembly. all, I also want to thank the Governor, His Excellency Dr. Peter Simba, because in the first place, he brought this bill to the House. It was an executive bill, and we had faith in it. Now, I am very much impressed, by the caliber of people that is manning this fund. That shows that we are going to succeed. We have faith in it, and surely we are going to succeed. What we have seen today is just like an activation energy. The launch is going to be successful. As a House of Assembly, we will continue to give support to the programs of the government, because we are part of the government, and what the government is doing is marvelous in our eyes. So we don't need to say much. We are part of this, and we'll continue to give our necessary support and continue to be part of this program. On the 13th of February, we'll be there. Carry the message down to our respective constituencies. Of course, if you get the House of Assembly, you have gotten the entire state. Thank you very much, and have a good day.